Okay, y'all. So, right-wingers are just beside themselves because the Department of Justice released a report detailing failings of the FBI when it came to January 6th. This is the report right here from the Office of the Inspector General. A review of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's handling of its confidential human sources and intelligence collection efforts in the lead up to the January 6, 2021 electoral certification. Okay, so this is the actual report that was released. Well, they saw this report and it was like, see, the FBI, they were involved. They were involved in January 6th. They allowed it to happen. And so, they have been going crazy in social media. Well, then they took it to a whole new level when Stephen A. Smith on his podcast dropped this rant.
The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appeared to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. The belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that the process is rigged. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? To the Democratic Party. You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right to make the case that the right had a monopoly on insidious, evil tendencies, corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same shit. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right instead of them.
Stephen A. normally dons a cowboy hat when he's talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I have no idea what the hell Stephen A. was just talking about. I know Stephen A. I respect Stephen A. Stephen A., you know sports. On this, you know what the hell you talking about. Like, I literally have no idea what the hell he was talking about there. How he's pissed off and the Democrats and Trump said stuff was rigged And y'all, MAGA is running that clip everywhere. Oh, they are saying, oh, see, even Stephen, the truth, they always know the truth. Go to my iPad. Associated Press, Fact Focus, Inspector General's January 6th report misrepresented as proof of FBI setup. The basis of what the right has been saying is that January 6th was fine, it was great, it was wonderful, but the FBI, it was a setup. The FBI, they were behind the whole deal. They were agents. They were the ones who were starting stuff. The report, this is the AP, the Watchdog report, examined a number of areas. Go back, including whether major intelligence failures preceded the riot and whether the FBI in some way provoked the violence. Claims spreading online focus on the report's finding that 26 FBI informants were in Washington for election-related protests on January 6, including 3 who had been tasked with traveling to the city to report on others who were potentially planning to attend the events. Although 17 of those informants either entered the Capitol or a restricted area around the building during the riot, none of the 26 total informants were authorized to do so by the Bureau, according to the report, nor were they authorized to otherwise break the law or encourage others to do so. That's the report. And so when Stephen A. is going on and they sat here making Trump out to be true. No, he lied. He lied. Claim. A December 2024 report released by the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General is proof that the January 6th Capitol riot was a setup by the FBI. The facts, that's false. The report found that report found that no undercover FBI employees were at the riot on January 6th and that none of the Bureau's informants were authorized to participate. Informants, also known as confidential human sources, work with the FBI to provide information, but are not on the Bureau's payroll, undercover agents, or employed by the FBI. Those are facts. And so for Stephen A. and Clay Travis and Sage Steele, all the rest of these people, let me help y'all out something. I'm about to help y'all out. The FBI and the state police and the DEA and the ATF and a sheriff's office and a local police department and a campus police department, even top flight security, doesn't come out and tell the public who the fucking informants are. Do you know why? Because the informants are inside the groups. The Proud Boys, that racist group, the FBI had people on the inside feeding them information. You can't arrest somebody unless a crime is committed or unless they were planning, let's say, to kill somebody. Every law enforcement agency has undercover cops. These were not undercover agents. They were informants. So Stephen A., what were Democrats lying about? What are they lying about? All of a sudden, MAGA's like, oh, no. This is all the FBI. No! They were informants. Tell us what's going on. Feed us information. In fact, one of the Proud Boys who's in prison, that Enrique dude, he was an informant.
That's right.
This is stupid. And I tried not to go here. I tried, and I'm sorry. Damn it, read. Call somebody. Check the damn facts. These MAGA people wanted the election results overturned. That was their aim. That's why more and more people are still being convicted, because they participated in an insurrection. Never in American history had someone, an occupant of the Oval Office, try to overthrow the results of an American election. The report details the actions of the informants, Stephen A., Sage Steele, Clay Travis, and the rest of you MAGA yahoos. So Democrats weren't lying. The report breaks down that the FBI field offices did not send up the activities that were being planned. The report details their failures. It's all in the report, y'all. It's right here. Table of contents. You see right here. Pre-January 6th election-related protests. The protests. Law enforcement jurisdiction over the Capitol complex. Assess and investigate reports of information concerning potential criminal activity or threats. Share information with other law enforcement agencies. Support other law enforcement agencies. It breaks down the relevant field offices. It breaks down the messages, how it's collected, sensitive information. It goes on and on. Y'all, what you're seeing, I'm scrolling through for you this entire report. It lays out recommendations. It lays out the FBI's response to the report. This is the all right here. So Democrats weren't lying. The facts are the facts. And that is, sycophants of Donald Trump were doing all they can to overthrow the results. We know for a fact, because of the laws, the gun laws in D.C., they stashed weapons, cache of weapons outside of D.C., and it was going to send the message, bring the guns in. They were there with zip ties and other things. If you ain't trying to, why are you walking around with zip ties? Not Ziploc bags with food, zip ties. So I had to go here because I didn't know what the hell Stephen A. was talking about. Like, you trying to blame Democrats? And what were they lying about? The FBI did not have agents involved. MAGA has been lying. They have been claiming that January 6th was staged by the FBI. More than 100 cops were injured in that insurrection attempt. And let me tell you something right now. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Donald Trump has even floated giving the January 6th defendants pardons on day one.
That's right.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. I do not put it past Donald Trump to sign their pardons on the steps of the Capitol during his speech. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Donald Trump says in his speech, or if he says, I'm going to sign the pardons right now, President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris and Second Gentleman Douglas Emhoff and Democrat Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries should all stand up and walk the hell out. If Donald Trump says, my first act is to pardon everyone involved on January 6, 2021, they should walk. First of all, I wouldn't show up. His punk ass didn't show up after he lost. I wouldn't show up. I wouldn't give him that type of deference. But I'm telling you right now, if he does that, I would stand up and walk out in protest because he is standing at the crime scene. He will be standing there and looking out at people who were beaten and attacked that day because he loved it, because it was all about him. And so I'm sick of people. And yes, Stephen A., they using your clip. But Stephen A., you wrong. You are 100% wrong in your analysis. And I didn't want to have to make this video, but you're wrong. Everything that you said in your video was wrong. Democrats did not lie about this. The fact of the matter is there were FBI informants. And again, there's a reason why law enforcement has informants to feed them information. I'm just going to show you this real quick. An informant exposes the inner workings of the KKK. If it wasn't for Joe Moore, a former Army sniper turned FBI informant, then we would have never known when the KKK was plotting to assassinate then Senator Barack Obama. That right there. He wrote a book called White Robes and Broken Badges. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was an FBI informant. This is what informants do. If I sat here, and matter of fact, I'm just going to pull this up because I need people to understand this whole deal. There's a book. It's called The Informant. The FBI, the KKK, and the murder of Viola Liuzzo. When Viola Liuzzo, a white mother from Michigan, was returning from the march in Montgomery back to Selma, a pickup truck came by and blew her head off. There was a black man who was sitting in the driver's seat who played dead. The only reason we know, it was a lonely road. If you go down that road between Montgomery and Selma, there's an actual marker there where she was murdered. The only reason we know what happened is because in the truck, it was three of them. In the truck, it was an FBI informant who was in the truck with the two other KKK members who shot and killed Viola Liuzzo. That brother who was next to her, I interviewed him in Selma a few years ago. That's what criminal informants do. So how silly is it to say that Democrats lied about January 6th? The FBI agents were not involved. It was informants who were feeding them information. And I am Jade, I am sick and tired of these MAGA people with their crap. And yes, I was greatly disappointed to see that rant from Stephen A. because he was absolutely, positively wrong. This is not about protecting Democrats, and it's not about criticizing Republicans. It's about speaking truth, and the report has been grossly misrepresented by these crazy, deranged MAGA people.
Yeah, Roland. And I guess the one positive light at the end of the tunnel is that Stephen A. Smith, his delivery and what he was saying was so confusing. Like you said, I listened to it for about 4 times and I still could not figure out what he was trying to say. So the majority of us probably will not receive the message that he's attempting to deliver. But on the flip side of journalism, that's very unfortunate because a simple click of the AP News or any other source would have revealed what the actual report said. So it's kind of like a lazy journalism, if anything. So that's very disappointing. But the good side, no one probably understood what he was trying to relay.
Omakongo?
Stephen A. Smith is dangerous. And the fact of the matter is, as I've often said about him, I don't have a problem with somebody jumping into different genres, but you need to apply the same journalistic principles that you use in sports, Stephen A. Smith, to the politics. And you're not doing that in any way, shape, or form. You're serving as a puppet for these guys. It makes me question who you really voted for. And just like with the lady, Miss Lee, the Asian American woman, it seems like people are doing their best to curry favor. This is with Trump and his ilk. This is factually inaccurate, and it's disgraceful that Stephen A. Smith continues to jump into politics when he does not know what he's talking about. And the fact that he would put insurrection with air quotes shows everything that it says about where he really sees things. And people need to really start calling him out like you did tonight when he's doing this type of nonsense. And I can't wait for the clip to share it. Stephen A. Smith, if you're going to jump into this fray, either know what you're talking about or just come out and say you're 100% MAGA so everybody can be clear about it, because you can't keep trying to straddle the fence and think anybody on this side of the world, meaning this side of the truth, is going to respect you.
I mean, this is the tweet Candace from Clay Travis, of course, one of these right-wing MAGA, Fox News people. It's interesting to see how many people in media are waking up to all the lies we've been told. Here's Stephen A. Smith on January 6th revelations. Dude, no, facts are facts. January 6th, they were insurrectionists. They attacked the Capitol. It wasn't this, peaceful walk in the park. They were just walking around the Capitol. That's total bullshit.
I think about maybe midnight, when he was in bed, he might have said to himself, I think I read that wrong, because clearly he did not know what he was talking about. You can't have an undercover sting operation and know about it beforehand, which is what he was crying about. Why didn't we know about this beforehand? If we'd known about it beforehand, it would have been different. But this is because we were close to the election. You can't tell people about informants before the information that you want has been received or attained. It would take the sting out of a sting operation. But his air quotes was just mystifying. I don't know what he was talking about, putting insurrection in air quotes. It's as if somebody had said to him before he went on, look, we need to bring up our ratings. And he went up there and just said anything outlandish in order to get some clicks. It didn't make sense. And I know him as somebody who is good at what he does in the world of sports. That's how he was able to get to where he was. Like he just said on the panel, he took such care in sports, knowing all about the history and all about the scores and the people involved in the teams. If you're going to cross over into this world where it involves politics, and you move the needle in how we are living our lives in terms of being in a democratic society, you have to do better. You cannot take on this role and cross over from sports into politics and then hang your hat by putting air quotes around insurrection when you saw what we saw on TV. That makes no sense. He has got to be in a moment right now where he's thinking, my bad, I don't think I read that right. That's my only guess in terms of what he's going through.
And let me also just remind folks, they were pissed off because of how people voted in 4 cities: Atlanta, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. January 6th is because Donald Trump was pissed that black people voted his ass out of office. January 6th absolutely was an insurrection. That was their aim. They were plotting. They had a plan of action. It has been confirmed by Peter Navarro. It's been confirmed by Steve Bannon. It's been confirmed by Ted Cruz. They were doing all they could. It's been confirmed by Vice President Mike Pence. And that's why Mike Pence wasn't on the ticket again. Because Donald Trump was pissed that Mike Pence did not break the law on his behalf. What we're not going to do is sit here and take a report and misrepresent it and lie about it. Ain't going to happen. I don't care whether you're black, White, Republican, Democrat, independent, sports commentator, news commentator, don't matter. We're going to stand on truth. And these people want to continue to lie about January 6th because they want those hooligans out. And every single person who has been convicted on January 6th, the punk asses should remain in jail. And they should serve their full sentence because their actions were shameful, despicable, and they were illegal. And I will not be silent about these thugs, these insurrectionists, because that's who they are. And if Donald Trump wants to use the power to pardon them, he is within his right. But let me remind you, if you accept a presidential pardon, you are admitting that what you did was wrong. And these people are flat out wrong. They are insurrectionists, and Donald Trump is an insurrectionist himself. And that's why I will never affix the title of president to his name, because he has disgraced the office, and he should never be referred to it, even if there were fools who voted for him to return.
Yeah, tastes like
Curl Prep Natural Hair Solutions at curlprep.com.
I'm in shock.
For curls, locks, braids, twists, and even those wigs and extensions. Women, men, and children are loving this line. Look at this video and you be the judge. People line up to see this product in action at hair shows, and when they take a seat and try it, they don't believe it's their hair. Buy the products at curlprep.com. It works on all hair types. Use code ROLAND, that's ROLAND, lowercase letters, to get a 15% discount. Parents, remove the ouch. You will love this system because you can comb the product through your child's hair with your fingers. It's all at curlprep.com. Use code ROLAND, lowercase letters, to get a 15% discount.